Private equity and 401k plans. Can these investments actually be done right and stay compliant? In this video, we react to the hype, break down the real risks. We're going to at least try and share what plan sponsors need to know before jumping into private markets in a defined contribution plan.
Have I told you my analogy for this one?
No, but I got a feeling you're going to.
So I think a lot about it is, should we do it or should we not? And it's like deciding on one of two ways to parent, okay? You catch your kids smoking cigarettes, and either you take away the cigarettes and say, no, 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 that's bad, or you find them smoking cigarettes and you make them smoke the whole pack, right?
Okay.
And so with private investments, there's people who will not put money in their 401k plan because they go, I can get so much more money doing other things. And I would say, smoke the pack of cigarettes with them. Tell them to maybe put 80% in it and 20% not. And after a year of being burned, maybe they will change their investment strategy, right?
You've told me the smoking analogy before. I haven't been a big fan of it because this could have huge impacts forever.
Stunt your growth.
What?
Literally stunt your growth.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's true. All right. The article talks about how private market investments, things like private equity, private credit, venture funds, are starting to make their way into retirement plans. This is where we come in. Our job is to make sure plans stay compliant, fair, and operable. And this is where private investments raise real questions. We'll break it down into three categories. Remember, our job is to help keep the plan sponsors out of trouble with the IRS and Department of Labor. All right? And we're not exactly sure yet how one is able to do that with these types of investments. Now then, there is the fiduciary responsibility. There is always fiduciary responsibility. How are plan fiduciaries really going to evaluate these very complex asset classes? What information are they going to be sharing? All right. I thought these things were very secretive as to who the investors were, what the investments were, what the fees were. Is there going to be some guidance as to the level of transparency with these things?
That's the thing.
Are they real investments or are they Bernie Madoff?
Well, that's the thing is, if your investments are public or they go through the regulatory process, they are reviewed, and it's making people go through their paces, right? I have no idea what a private one is.
Right.
Is there any like it has to have these three factors? Does it have to be reviewed?
Right. Well, that leads on to the next thing. What about benchmarking and performance reporting? Okay. How often are these things valued? All right. Who's valuing them? All right.
It's always the famous uncle.
Yeah. Okay. So what are they benchmarked against? And again, how do you judge the performance? So we still have the concept of ERISA prudent standards. What would a prudent person do? My definition of a prudent person is they would walk away. Not everybody feels the same way, but if you're picking investments for your participants, how do you make sure that those investments are appropriate for that person? I was listening to a podcast last week where supposedly venture capitalists are expecting 90% of their deals to turn to nothing. The 1 out of 10 makes up for the 9 that fail, but is everybody in that? Is everybody in everything? How's this going to work? All right.
And that leads up straight to your operational complexity in the sense of, hey, do you want to take a distribution this week or in 5 years or in 10 years or when?
How are we going to make
how
them
liquid is it?
Because you've got, if you can't pay required distributions, that's a compliance problem. That's an operational defect. How are you going to price these things quarterly? All right. Record keepers. What the heck are record keepers going to do for this? I don't think we're talking about REITs. We're not talking about a REIT of 19 different, I think REIT's the right
So
phrase,
if you were RMDH.
19 different, we're going to get to that. Of 19 different venture capitalist funds, is a record keeper going to be able to daily value that? Probably not.
No, I was going to ask, if you are of RMD age and you have to do RMDs, you better keep a certain amount in cash because God knows what it's going to be in that year.
Right. It's a required minimum distribution, not a when you have the funds available distribution. Participant communications. Will the average employee understand this? I'm thinking not, because I have been explaining in the past year or so, since I finally have a basic understanding in it, how venture capitalists and private equity works to financial advisors, okay? Which has shocked me. Yes, I sometimes have to explain 321 and 338 to them, but that's a different story. This is even more complex, and not everybody understands how this works. I think there's a basic understanding of what a mutual fund is, but I do not think there's a general basic understanding of what these private funds
I would say
are.
the education level within the industry for participants isn't high enough to actually offer this and feel confident about it.
Fairness and liquidity, daily trading versus long lock-ups. There's aggregators in our industry. Are we going to be able to invest in those aggregators? Those are long 5, 7, 8, 9 year deals where they're tying up the money. How is this being liquid? Do different investors get different rates of return? What's going on in here? Okay, what's going to happen with terminated participants? What's going to happen with terminated plans? The last thing is perhaps the most important, and that is DOL guidance is still evolving. I think.
Are we on the Pliocene age?
No, it's much quicker than that. This is.
No, I would say the evolving. It's so far.
No, we're supposed to have something in less than 180 days. I'm not hopeful. I don't know how that's going to happen because we're still waiting for a guidance on Secure 1.0. Who might actually pull this off? It's not 100% doom and gloom. We are not saying private markets don't belong. I'm just not concerned. I'm just concerned. Sorry, I'm not convinced that this is the right investment for most small and mid-sized plans. All right, I don't think they're anywhere near ready. When you look at the vast majority of retirement plans out there, they're not Walmart. Okay, they're not Apple. They're not Microsoft. They're small plans with less than $5-6 million in it. All right.
I find Walmart and private. That sounds scary.
That's okay. So again, large institutional plans might be able to explore this. All right. Pooled employer plans or common CITs also could add structure and oversight to this. But those are larger entities, not your individual employer. But for the average plan sponsor, okay, let's slow down, slow your roll. Let's wait to get some real guidance first, please. Okay?
Yeah, I think you've buried the lead. It's slow your roll. That should be at the top. Slow your roll on private investments.
Okay. Now then, final thought. This is going to be an exciting trend, but it's going to have more than your usual amount of complexity, wouldn't you, dear? Wouldn't you say so, dear?
Absolutely.
Now then,
if you hate reading financial statements already,
this
is going to be
think
worse.
Copilot's going to help you very much with this, dear.
Yep.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Yeah.
So if you are considering adding private investments, please start with a fiduciary and operational review as to how that would impact yours or your client's plan.
To do it right, it's going to take a lot of work. Are you ready to do it? Will it really give you the margins you're expecting?
Hopefully. All right. Now then, do you have specific questions about your plan? Please email us at sales@hunterbenefits.com. Like, subscribe. You understand what the call to action is here. Please let your friends and neighbors know about us. And most importantly, don't forget to keep those cards and letters coming. Toodles.
Doodaloo.